An alien queen needed saving. A human from a primitive world answered. Part 1. The crash. The stars burned cold and distant as the royal ship moved through space. Queen Una sat on her throne, watching the endless black through the wide windows. She had ruled the Valoran Empire for 300 years. Her silver skin glowed soft in the dim light. Her eyes were deep purple, the color of dying suns. She was beautiful in a way that made other beings feel small. The ship was called the Eternal Grace. It carried 200 guards, 50 servants, and the most powerful woman in 3 galaxies. They were traveling to a peace meeting. Another war to end. Another treaty to sign. Una was tired of wars. She was tired of many things. Her advisor, an old male with wrinkled silver skin, walked to her side. His name was Bora, and he had served her mother before her. "My queen, we will arrive in 6 cycles," he said. "Good," Una replied. She did not look at him. "I want this finished." But it would not be finished. Not today. The first explosion came without warning. The ship shook hard. Una grabbed her throne as alarms filled the air with red light and screaming sounds. Guards ran in every direction. Another explosion. Then another. "We are under attack," Bora shouted. "The Shadowfang Syndicate. They found us." Una stood. The Shadowfang Syndicate were criminals, killers, and rebels. They wanted her dead. They wanted her throne. For 50 years, they had tried to kill her. They had never come this close. Dark ships appeared outside the windows. They were small and fast, like insects made of black metal. They fired again and again. The Eternal Grace was strong, but it was not a warship. It was dying. Guards fought back. They fired weapons from the ship. But more dark ships came. Always more. "My queen, you must escape." Bora grabbed her arm. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his head. "The escape pod, now." "I will not run," Una said. Her voice was cold and hard. "If you die, the Empire falls." Bora pushed her toward a small door. "Your people need you alive. Go." He was right. She knew he was right. But leaving felt like losing. More explosions. The floor broke apart. Fire spread through the halls. Una saw her guards falling, burning, dying for her. She saw Bora standing between her and the flames. "Go!" He screamed. She ran. The escape pod was small, barely big enough for one person. Una climbed inside. The door closed. Through the tiny window, she saw Bora raise his hand in farewell. Then fire took him. The pod launched into space. Una watched her ship burn. 200 guards. 50 servants. Bora, who had been like a father to her. All gone. She pressed her hand against the cold glass and felt something she had not felt in a long time. She felt alone. The dark ship saw her pod. They chased her. She had no weapons, no shields, nothing but a small engine and failing power. Death was coming for her. Then space itself opened. A hole appeared in front of her pod. It was a wormhole, unstable and dangerous. Flying into it meant almost certain death. But certain death was already behind her. Una made her choice. The pod flew into the wormhole. Everything became light and sound and pain. She screamed as reality twisted around her. Time stopped meaning anything. She saw colors that had no names. She felt her body being pulled apart and put back together. Then it ended. The pod crashed through an atmosphere, through clouds, through cold air that smelled like nothing she had ever known. Trees appeared below, green and wild. Mountains rose in the distance. The pod hit the ground and rolled and broke, and finally stopped. Una lay in the wreckage, bleeding. Her silver blood dripped on the strange brown dirt. Her bones were broken. Her skin was torn, The sky above was blue, with a single yellow sun. She had never seen a yellow sun before. Her eyes closed. She waited to die. Far away, in a small wooden cabin, a man named Taiho put down his book. He had heard something. A sound like thunder, but different. Closer. He walked outside. The evening air was cool on his face. He was 26 years old, tall and thin, with black hair that needed cutting. He lived alone in these mountains. That was his choice. After what happened to his squad, he wanted to be alone. Smoke rose from the forest to the east. Taiho walked toward it. He did not know why. Something pulled him. The smoke grew thicker. The smell grew stranger. Not like normal fire. Not like anything he knew. He found the crater first. The ground was torn apart. Trees knocked down in a wide circle. In the center was metal. Strange metal, curved and silver, still glowing with heat. And inside the metal was a woman. At least, she looked like a woman. Her skin was silver. Her hair was white like snow. Blood that looked purple dripped from wounds on her face and arms. She was not breathing well. Taiho stood very still. He had seen many things in his life. He had fought in wars. He had watched friends die. But he had never seen anything like this. He should call someone. The police. The government. Someone. But she was dying. He could see that clearly. She would be dead before anyone came. Taiho made his choice. He reached into the burning metal. The heat hurt his hands, but he did not stop. He pulled her out, this strange silver woman from the sky. She weighed almost nothing. Her body was cold, despite the fire around them. He carried her home. An alien queen needed saving. A human from a primitive world answered. Part 2. The healing Queen Yuna opened her eyes to fire. Not the fire that had destroyed her ship. This fire was small and gentle, burning inside a stone box in the corner of a wooden room. She lay on something soft. Cloth covered her body, rough but warm. She tried to move. Pain shot through her entire body. She gasped and fell back. A face appeared above her. A strange face. The skin was brown, not silver. The eyes were dark, not purple. The features were rough, simple, primitive. It was the face of an animal. A creature. A thing from a world so far from civilization that the galactic maps called it nothing. Easy, the creature said. You will hurt yourself. Yuna understood the words. Her translator implants still worked, though barely. The language was simple, basic. The sounds were ugly to her ears. Where am I? She demanded. Her voice came out weak, not strong like she wanted. My home, the creature said. You crashed nearby. I brought you here. Yuna looked around the room. Everything was made of dead wood and simple stone. A single window showed trees outside, endless trees under a strange blue sky. There was no technology, no screens, no machines, nothing that showed intelligent life. What world is this? She asked. Earth, the creature said. He sat down near her on a small wooden seat. Korea, if you want to be specific. My name is Taiho. Earth. Yuna searched her memory. Yes, she knew this world. It was in the outer edge of the fourth spiral arm. Classification. Primitive. Pre-space flight. No contact allowed. The beings here had not yet learned to leave their own planet. They were considered little more than clever animals, and one of them had saved her life. I am Queen Yuna of the Valoran Empire, she said. You will address me with respect. Taiho looked at her for a long moment. Then he turned away and picked up a bowl from a small table. Steam rose from it. You need to eat, he said. This will help you heal. Did you hear me? I am a queen, the ruler of 3 galaxies. You will bow before me, and you are a woman who almost died, Taiho said. His voice was calm, not angry. You have 4 broken ribs, a cracked skull, and wounds that should have killed you. I do not care if you are a queen or a god. Right now, you are my patient. And my patient needs to eat. He held the bowl toward her. Inside was some kind of liquid, round, and thick. It smelled strange, but not bad. No one had ever spoken to Yuna like this. Not once in 300 years. Guards who showed less respect had been punished. Advisors who questioned her had been removed. She was the queen. Her word was law. Her will was absolute. She took the bowl. The liquid was warm and salty. It tasted like nothing she had ever eaten before. It was simple and plain and somehow perfect. She drank all of it. Good, Taiho said. He took the empty bowl. Rest now. I will check your wounds later. He left the room. Yuna heard him moving in another part of the small building. She lay back on the soft surface and stared at the ceiling. It was made of wood, like everything else. She could see the lines in it, the patterns of growth from when it was a living tree. She had never seen anything so primitive. So simple, so far from everything she knew. And somehow, she was still alive. 3 days passed. Taiho cared for her wounds with surprising skill. He used plants from the forest, crushed and mixed into pastes. He wrapped her ribs with clean cloth. He gave her water and food and medicine that he said came from a veterinarian in the town below the mountain. You are treating me like an animal, Yuna said when she learned this. Animal medicine is all I have, Taiho replied. Would you prefer to die with dignity? She did not answer. She ate her food. Her body healed faster than a human body would. That was natural for her species. But she was still weak, still damaged. She could not walk without help. She could not even sit up without pain. Taiho helped her with everything. He brought her food. He helped her to the small room where she could relieve herself. He washed the blood from her skin with warm water and gentle hands. Why do you do this? She asked on the 4th day. You do not know me. You owe me nothing. Taiho was cutting vegetables at a small table. He did not look up. You needed help. That is not an answer. It is the only answer I have. Yuna watched him work. His hands were rough and scarred. His movements were slow but certain. He was not like the servants she knew. He did not bow or scrape or fear her. He simply did what needed to be done. You were a soldier, she said. It was not a question. She could see it in the way he moved, the way he held himself. Yes, Taiho said. What happened? His hands stopped moving. For a moment, his face changed. Pain crossed it like a shadow. Bad things, he said quietly. I lost people I cared about. Now I live here alone. You ran away. I survived. He looked at her. Sometimes that is all we can do. Yuna said nothing. She understood survival. She had survived the death of her mother, the wars of her youth, the endless plots against her throne. She had survived for 300 years, but she had never been alone. Not truly alone. That night, Yuna lay awake listening to the sounds of this strange world. Wind in the trees. Animals cawing in the darkness. The soft crackle of the fire. No machines. No ships. No voices of a trillion subjects calling for her attention. Just silence. Just peace. She heard Taiho moving in the other room. She heard him cough once, then become still. He was sleeping on the floor, she knew. He had given her his bed. He had given her his food, his medicine, his time. He had asked for nothing in return. In 300 years, no one had ever done that. Everyone wanted something from the queen. Power, money, favor, love, or what they thought was love. But this primitive creature from this primitive world wanted nothing. Yuna closed her eyes. Something warm and strange moved in her chest. She did not know what it was. On the seventh day, lights appeared in the sky. Strange lights, moving too fast to be natural. Taiho saw them from the window. His face became hard. "Someone is coming," he said. Yuna felt fear grip her heart. Her distress beacon. It was still active. The syndicate had found her. "You must hide me," she said. "No," Taiho replied. He walked to a wooden box and opened it. Inside was a weapon, a primitive thing made of metal and wood. "I will not hide you. I will protect you." Yuna stared at him. "You do not understand. They will kill you. They are hunters, warriors, trained to. Then they will learn something new," Taiho said. He loaded the weapon with small metal pieces. "They will learn what happens when they come to my mountain." His eyes were cold now. The soldier in him had awakened. Yuna had commanded armies. She had seen warriors from 1,000 worlds. But something in this man's eyes made her believe him. The hunters were coming, and a primitive human was ready to meet them. An alien queen needed saving. A human from a primitive world answered Part 3. The hunt. The syndicate ship landed in a clearing 1 mile from the cabin. It was small and black, shaped like a blade. 3 figures stepped out into the cool morning air. They were Keth warriors, the best hunters in the galaxy. Each one stood 8 feet tall, covered in living metal armor that moved with their bodies like a second skin. They carried plasma rifles that could burn through solid rock. They had killed thousands of targets across 100 worlds. Their leader was called Raka. He looked at the forest around him with disgust. The trees were green and wild. The air smelled of dirt and water. Animals made sounds in the distance. It was primitive, disgusting. "The signal comes from that direction," Raka said. His voice was deep and rough. 1 mile. "The queen is there. What about the local life forms?" asked a second Keth named Vorn. Raka laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. The scans show one creature near the queen. Small, weak, no technology. No weapons worth mentioning. Should we kill it? If it gets in the way. Raka began walking toward the signal. "The syndicate wants the queen dead. We will bring them her head and earn our payment. This will be easy." They did not know about Taiho in the cabin. Taiho had prepared. He had watched the lights come down from the sky. He had seen where they landed. Now he worked quickly and quietly, doing things he had not done in years. He set traps along the main path. Simple traps. Wire stretched between trees. Holes covered with leaves. Rocks balanced to fall. These were old techniques, things his grandfather had taught him for catching animals. But they worked on anything with legs. He placed his hunting rifle at a good position on a hill. He could see the path from there. He counted his bullets. 12. Not many. He looked at his hands. They were not shaking. Part of him was afraid. These things coming through the forest were not human. They were big and armed and dangerous. But another part of him, the part that had survived 2 wars and buried 11 friends, that part was calm. That part was ready. Yuna tried to stand when he came back to the cabin. She fell immediately, too weak to hold herself up. "You cannot fight them," she said. Her voice was desperate. "The Keth are elite warriors. They have killed entire armies. They will destroy you." "Maybe," Taiho said. He handed her a knife, a simple blade made of steel. "But I do not plan to fight fair." "What does that mean?" "It means I will not stand in front of them and die like an idiot." He checked his rifle one more time. "Stay in the cellar. There is food and water there. If I do not come back, wait until night and run toward the east. There's a town that way. I cannot run. I can barely walk, then crawl." He met her eyes. "You said you are a queen. Act like one. Survive." He left before she could respond. The Keth moved through the forest in a line. They were not quiet. They did not need to be quiet. Their armor could stop any weapon this primitive world could produce. Their sensors scanned everything around them. Nothing could surprise them. Vorn was in front. He pushed through the trees like they were nothing. His rifle was ready, but he was bored. This mission was too easy. There was no challenge here. He did not see the wire. His foot caught it. A sound came from his left. He turned just as a heavy log swung down from the trees and hit him in the chest. The impact was massive. His armor held, but the force threw him backward into a pit covered with leaves. He fell 10 feet onto wide, sharpened sticks. His armor protected most of his body, but the sticks found gaps. One went through his neck. He died without making a sound. Raka and the third Keth, named Siok, stared at the pit. What happened? Siok asked. A trap, Raka said slowly. Someone set a trap, but the scan showed nothing. No technology. No. A sound came from the forest. A sharp crack. Siok's head snapped back as something hit his helmet. The metal held, but the force knocked him down. Raka dove behind a tree. Another crack. Something hit the tree near his head. He recognized the sound now. A chemical projectile weapon. Primitive. Impossible to stop with shields because the projectiles were too slow and simple. Where is it coming from? Siok shouted. He was back on his feet, his rifle scanning the forest. The hill. Raka pointed. There. They fired their plasma rifles at the hill. Trees exploded. Rocks melted. Fire spread through the forest. When they stopped, nothing was left but smoke and ash. Is it dead? Siok asked. Raka checked his sensors. He saw nothing. No life signs. No movement. Then something hit his leg. He looked down. A small hole had appeared in his armor, just above the knee. Purple blood was leaking out. How? He whispered. The primitive creature had moved. It had fired, then moved before they could respond. It was not on the hill anymore. Raka did not know that Taiho had learned this in the army. Fire and move. Never stay in one place. Make the enemy chase shadows. Find it. Raka screamed. Kill it. Siok ran into the forest. His sensors showed movement to the north. He chased it. He was faster than anything on this world. Nothing could escape him. He found a clearing. In the center was a pile of leaves. Something was wrong. He could feel it. But before he could react, the ground gave way beneath him. Another pit. Deeper this time. He fell onto more sharpened sticks. His armor protected him. He laughed with relief and started to climb out. Fire fell from above. Some kind of liquid burning. It covered his armor, his helmet, his rifle. The living metal screamed as it died. Siok screamed with it. Taiho had used oil from his cabin. Simple cooking oil poured into bottles with cloth in the top. His grandfather had called them fire bottles. They were old technology. Primitive technology. They worked. Siok burned. Raka was alone now. His leg was wounded. His team was dead. And somewhere in this forest, a primitive creature was hunting him. He fired his rifle at everything. Trees, rocks, shadows. The forest burned around him. Smoke filled the air. He could not see, could not think. Show yourself. He screamed. Face me. Fight me like a warrior. Silence. Then a voice, calm and quiet, came from behind him. No. He turned. The primitive was there, standing in the smoke like a ghost. It was small, weak. Its weapon was empty. It held only a metal blade in its hand. Raka laughed. You think you can kill me with that? I am Keth. I am immortal. You are wounded, the primitive said. You are tired. You are afraid. It stepped closer. And you are not immortal. You just have not met the right enemy. Raka raised his rifle. The primitive moved faster than should have been possible. It went low, under the rifle, and drove the blade into the gap in Raka's armor. The same gap where the bullet had hit. Raka fell. The primitive stood over him. Its face was calm. Its eyes were cold. Who are you? Raka whispered. My name is Taiho, the primitive said. And this is my mountain. The blade fell. Yuna was waiting when Taiho returned. She had disobeyed him. She had not stayed in the cellar. She had watched from the window. She had seen everything. Taiho was covered in blood and ash. His hands were burned. His face was cut. But he was alive. 3 Keth warriors, she said softly. You killed 3 Keth warriors. Yes. He walked past her and began to wash his hands. How? How is that possible? He looked at her. For a moment, his eyes were very old, very tired. They thought they were hunting, he said. They were wrong. They were prey. He went back to cleaning his hands. Yuna stared at his back, at this impossible creature from an impossible world. She had ruled an empire. She had commanded armies. She had seen the greatest warriors in the galaxy, that she had never seen anything like him. An alien queen needed saving. A human from a primitive world answered Part 4. The bond the forest was quiet after the battle. Smoke still rose from the burned trees. The bodies of the Keth warriors lay where they had fallen. Birds began to sing again slowly, carefully, as if testing whether it was safe. Taiho sat on a rock outside the cabin. His hands were bandaged now. Yuna had helped him, using the same techniques he had used on her. Her touch was gentle, uncertain, as if she had never cared for another person before. Maybe she had not. More will come, Yuna said. She stood in the doorway, leaning against the frame for support. Her legs were still weak, but stronger than before. The syndicate will not stop. Not until I am dead. Then we need to move, Taiho said. I know a place. An old military building in the mountains. Underground. They will not find us there. How far? 2 days walking. Maybe 3, with your injuries. Yuna looked at the forest around them. It was beautiful, even with the damage. Green leaves, brown earth, blue sky. Simple colors. Honest colors. So different from the cold perfection of her palace. Why are you helping me? She asked. This question had been in her mind for days. You know what I am now. You know about my empire, my power. You could ask for anything. Wealth, technology, a planet of your own. Taiho stood up slowly. His body was tired, bruised, burned. But he did not show pain. I told you before, he said. You needed help. That was enough. That cannot be enough. No one does anything for nothing. Everyone wants something. He looked at her. His dark eyes were calm and steady. Then maybe you have met the wrong people, he said. Come, we should leave before sunset. They walked through the forest. Taiho led the way, finding paths that Yuna could not see. He moved through the trees like he was part of them. Sometimes he stopped to help her over rocks or streams. His hands were always steady. You know this place very well, Yuna said. I have lived here for 3 years. Before then, I came here as a child with my grandfather. He taught me how to hunt, how to track, how to survive. Your grandfather was a warrior? Taiho smiled. It was the first time she had seen him smile. It changed his face, made him look younger. He was a farmer. But he had lived through a war when he was young. He knew things. He passed them to me. And your parents? The smile faded. Gone. Car accident. I was 16. I am sorry. It was long ago. They walked in silence for a while. The sun moved across the sky. The air grew cooler as they climbed higher into the mountains. My mother died when I was 50 years old, Yuna said suddenly. That is young for my people. She was assassinated. Poison in her food. Taiho looked at her but said nothing. I became queen that day. I was not ready. No one is ever ready to rule an empire. But I did it. I had no choice. She paused to catch her breath. Her ribs still hurt. For 300 years, I have done what was needed. I have ended wars. I have built peace. I have given everything to my people. Everything. Everything. My time, my energy, my life. She looked at him. I have not slept without guards outside my door since I was 50 years old. I have not eaten food that was not tested for poison. I have not touched another person without protocol and ceremony. Sounds lonely. She stopped walking. Those words hit her harder than any weapon. What did you say? Lonely, Taiho repeated. It sounds lonely. 300 years without trust, without rest, without touch. He shrugged. No wonder you are tired. No one had ever said that to her. Not once. Her advisors talked about duty. Her generals talked about honor. Her servants talked about glory. No one talked about how she felt. Tears came to her eyes. She did not understand why. Queens did not cry. Queens were strong. But here, on this primitive mountain, with this primitive man, she was not a queen. She was just Yuna, tired, wounded, alone. The tears fell. Taiho did not look away. He did not offer empty words. He simply waited. I have forgotten what peace feels like, Yuna whispered. I have forgotten what it means to not be afraid. Then remember, Taiho said softly. Here, on this mountain, with no one watching, remember. He held out his hand. Not demanding. Not expecting. Just offering. She took a. They reached the underground building as the sun began to set. It was hidden inside a cliff, covered with plants and dirt. Taiho opened the metal door that had not moved in years. Inside was dark and cold, but dry and safe. Old machines sat covered in dust. Papers lay scattered on tables. This place had been abandoned long ago. The military used this during the Old War, Taiho explained. For communications, I think. It has power sometimes when I can make the generator work. He found candles and lit them. The soft light filled the room. Yuna sat on an old chair. Her body was exhausted. Her wounds were hurting again. But something inside her felt different, lighter. Taiho found blankets and food. Old food in metal containers, but still good. They ate together in silence, watching the candle flames dance. Tell me about your empire, Taiho said finally. Yuna thought for a moment. It is large. 3 galaxies. Trillions of people. Hundreds of species. We have technology that would seem like magic to you. Ships that cross the stars. Machines that think. Weapons that can destroy planets. And you rule all of it? I try. There are governors and councils and advisors. But the final word is always mine. She looked at her hands. Silver hands that had signed treaties and death warrants. It is a heavy burden. Why do you carry it? Because no one else can. Because if I do not, the empire will fall. There will be wars. Billions will die. She met his eyes. Does that sound foolish to you? A primitive human? No, his voice was quiet. It sounds brave. Stupid, maybe. But brave. She laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised her. You are strange, she said. You kill warriors and call queens stupid. I call things as I see them. He smiled again. You are brave, and you are tired, and you are lonely. Those things can all be true at the same time. And what are you? He thought about it. Broken, he said finally. I lost my squad. 11 men. I was the only survivor. I ran away from everything after that. Came here. Hid. You said you survived. I said that to make myself feel better. The truth is, I ran. I could not face the world after what happened. He looked at the ceiling. Until you fell from the sky. Until someone needed help again. Then I remembered who I used to be. Who did you used to be? Someone who protected people. Someone who fought for things that mattered. He looked at her. Maybe I can be that again. Yuna reached out and touched his hand. Her silver skin against his brown skin. Maybe we can both become something new, she said. Outside, the night was dark and full of stars. Somewhere up there, ships were searching for her. Enemies were planning her death. But here, in this hidden place, two broken people had found each other. A queen without a throne. A soldier without a war thought it was not much. But it was a beginning. Get some sleep, Taiho said. Tomorrow we need to plan. Plan for what? For whatever comes next. He smiled. I killed their hunters. They will send something bigger. We need to be ready. Yuna lay down on the blankets. Her body was tired, but her mind was racing. Taiho, she said softly. Yes? Thank you. He did not answer, but she saw him nod in the candlelight. She closed her eyes and slept. For the first time in 300 years, she dreamed of peace. An alien queen needed saving. A human from a primitive world answered. Part 5. The Rescue and the Promise. The Syndicate warship entered Earth's atmosphere like a knife through water. It was massive, black as death, armed with weapons that could level cities. The commander stood on the bridge, watching the primitive world below. The queen is somewhere in these mountains, he said. Our hunters failed. We will not. What about the local life forms? An officer asked. Burn them if necessary. This world is nothing. The queen's death is everything. The ship descended, casting a shadow over the forest dot in the underground building. Taiho and Yuna felt the ground shake. Dust fell from the ceiling. The old lights flickered. They are here, Yuna said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed fear. A warship this time, not hunters. Taiho walked to a small window cut into the cliff. He saw the ship hanging in the sky, enormous and terrible. He saw a smaller craft dropping from it, heading toward the mountains. How many soldiers? He asked. A warship carries 500, maybe more. Yuna stood beside him. Her wounds were better now, but she was still weak. There is no trap that can stop this, no clever plan. They will find us and kill us. Taiho said nothing. He watched the drop pods fall like rain. You should leave, Yuna said. Take your weapon. Run deeper into the mountains. They want me, not you. If you go now, you might survive. No, please. You have done enough. You have done more than anyone has ever done for me. But this is not your fight. This is not your war. Taiho turned to face her. His eyes were hard, decided. I made a choice when I pulled you from that fire, he said. I chose to help you. That choice does not end when things get difficult. That choice does not end when I might die. He picked up the plasma rifle he had taken from the Keth. I do not know how to use this weapon properly. I do not have enough bullets for my own rifle. I do not have enough bullets for my own rifle. I do not have enough bullets for my own. I am one man against 500 soldiers. Then why? Because giving up is not living. I learned that from my grandfather. I forgot it for a long time, but you reminded me. He smiled, just a little. If I die today, I die fighting for something that matters. That is better than hiding in these mountains forever. Yuna felt something break inside her. Or maybe something heal. She was not sure which. Then I will fight beside you, she said. I am tired of running. I am tired of others dying for me while I survive. She picked up the knife Taiho had given her. I am the queen of the Valoran Empire. It is time I acted like it. They walked out of the underground building together. The sun was rising, painting the sky red and gold. Drop pods were landing in the distance, shaking the earth. Taiho checked his weapon. I have maybe 10 shots with this. After that, I have my blade. Then we make every shot count, Yuna said. They found a good position on a hillside, overlooking a valley. The Syndicate soldiers would have to come through there to reach them. It was not a perfect defense, but it was something. The first soldiers appeared within minutes. They were different from the Keth, smaller but still dangerous. They wore dark armor and carried rifles that glowed with energy. Taiho fired. The plasma rifle was strange in his hands, heavy and wrong. But it worked. A soldier fell, then another. He kept firing until the weapon overheated and stopped. The soldiers returned fire. Energy bolts hit the rocks around them, turning stone to liquid. Yuna pressed herself against the ground. Taiho reloaded his old rifle, the one with real bullets. 12 shots, he said. That is all I have. He made them count. 12 soldiers fell. Then the rifle was empty too. Syndicate troops swarmed up the hillside. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Taiho stood with his knife in his hand. Yuna stood beside him, her own blade ready. I am sorry, she said. For what? For bringing this death to your world, to you. He looked at her. In that moment, with death coming toward them, he smiled. I am not sorry, he said. Meeting you was the best thing that happened to me in a long time. The soldiers were almost there. Taiho raised his knife. Then the sky exploded. Ships burst through the clouds, golden and silver, moving faster than thought. They were beautiful, elegant, powerful. They fired weapons that turned Syndicate soldiers into dust. Yuna gasped. The Royal Fleet, Admiral Ga. The golden ships attacked the Syndicate warship with terrible fury. It tried to fight back, but it was overwhelmed. Explosions tore through its hull. Fire spread across its surface. It fell from the sky like a dying star, crashing somewhere in the distant mountains. On the ground, the remaining Syndicate soldiers tried to run. But golden light dropped from the sky, and warriors in shining armor appeared among them. They were Valoran royal guards, the best soldiers in the Empire. They cut through the Syndicate troops like wind through leaves. A beam of golden light fell on the hillside. A woman stepped out of it. She was tall and silver-skinned like Yuna, but older. Her face was hard and scarred from many battles. She wore the uniform of a Valoran admiral. Her eyes scanned the area, found Yuna, and widened with relief. My queen, she said. Her voice shook with emotion. You are alive, Admiral Ga. Yuna stepped forward. How did you find me? The wormhole left traces. We have been searching for weeks. Geo looked at the battle around them, at the dead Syndicate soldiers, at the burned forest. We feared the worst. But it seems someone has been protecting you. She looked at Taiho. He stood there, dirty and bloody, holding a simple metal knife. His clothes were torn. His hands were burned. He looked like a wild animal, primitive and dangerous. Who is this? Ga asked. His name is Taiho, Yuna said. He is the reason I am alive. Jihee's eyes narrowed. Her guards scanned Taiho with their devices. He is a native of this world, one guard reported. Pre-spaceflight species. No cybernetic enhancements. No detectable technology. The 3 Keth hunters we sent to track you, Jihei said slowly. They were found dead. Killed with primitive weapons. She looked at Taiho with new eyes. Was that you? Yes, Taiho said simply. Silence. Every Valoran guard stared at him. A primitive creature. A native of a forgotten world. And he had killed 3 Keth warriors alone. How? Ga asked. Taiho shrugged. They thought they were hunting. They were wrong. Jie looked at Yuna. Your Majesty, we should return to the fleet. The Empire needs you. There is much to do. Yes. Yuna looked at the golden ships in the sky, at the guards in their shining armor, at everything waiting for her to return. Then she looked at Taiho. He was watching the sunrise. His face was peaceful now, all the violence gone from his eyes. He had fought. He had survived. And now he was looking at the sky like he was seeing it for the first time. Taiho, Yuna said. He turned to her. Come with me. He did not respond immediately. His eyes moved to the mountains around them. His home. His refuge. The place where he had hidden from the world for 3 years. Your empire, he said. It is far from here. Yes, 3 galaxies. Trillions of people. A throne that feels like a prison. She stepped closer to him. But you taught me something. You taught me that I do not have to carry everything alone. That asking for help is not weakness. I am just a primitive human. What can I do in your empire? Yuna took his hand. Silver on brown. Smooth on rough. You could remind me to be brave. You could remind me to fight for what matters. You could remind me that survival is not enough. She smiled. And someone needs to keep me out of trouble. Taiho looked at their joined hands. Then he looked at her eyes, purple like dying suns, filled with hope and fear and something else. The galaxy, he said slowly. Is it ready for humans? No, Yuna replied. But perhaps it needs to be. Taiho looked once more at his mountains, at the cabin he had built, at the life he had created. Then he looked at the stars. All right, he said. Let us see what is out there. Admiral Jie watched them walk toward the golden light together. The primitive human and the queen of 3 galaxies. It was impossible. It was absurd. But she had seen the dead Keth. She had seen the burned forest. She had seen what this one human could do with nothing but traps and blades and stubborn courage. Admiral, one of her guards, whispered. What do we do with him? Jihei watched Taiho step into the light, still holding the queen's hand. We learn from him, she said quietly. Because I believe the Shadowfang Syndicate has made a terrible mistake. What mistake? They attacked the world we thought was primitive, weak, harmless. She looked at the sky where the ships waited. They showed the humans that there are enemies among the stars. And, Ihei smiled. It was not a kind smile. And someday, the humans will come looking. And when they do, the galaxy will never be the same. The golden light carried them away. Taiho and Yuna, rising toward the stars together. A new chapter was beginning. For both of them. For all of them. For the galaxy.